there's going to be a bit of background here because a lot of things have happened recently that sort of play into what's going on here. One of these is that Chris Sky himself has been running afoul of a lot of anti-mask communities all over the place. And so, for those who don't know, Chris Sky, a prominent anti-masker, he kind of like was around near the beginning of the anti-mask protests in Toronto. And I always reflected on how weird it was because this was, not gonna lie, I find you extremely attractive. Thank you. This was back when the this was like April 2020. So we were only like a month into the pandemic. And Rebel was taking the side of like Trudeau not doing enough. This pandemic is real. The thing is going to come and kill us. Trudeau's not doing enough. This is the fault of China. That's like where Ezra was in March and April of 2020. And then at the end of April 2020 to the beginning of May 2020, things shifted. And I put part of the shift to Chris Sky organizing anti-mask protests in Toronto, which then I feel, of course I don't have any proof of this, but like Menzies was showing up at first wearing a mask, then he would show up maskless, and then all of a sudden the editorial stance of the Rebels shifts towards the pandemic isn't as bad as they keep saying it is, these lockdowns are bad, masks aren't effective, even though just a month before they were saying masks are effective. It's bad that Trudeau didn't have masks organized fast enough and that asymptomatic spread is real. Then a month later, asymptomatic spread isn't real, all that fun stuff. So it's like they noticed a trend and then hopped on that bandwagon to be like, let's go with our grassroots who are anti-pandemic right now. You can buy weed through the mail. I mean, you don't even have to buy weed through the mail in Canada. You could just walk up to a store because it is fully legal. So that's what happened. I think that the other interesting part about Chris Sky is he would show up in his like wife beater tees and then just be like completely surrounded by like women in bikinis. And that was what was happening at the beginning of this thing. And it almost had this vibe where you had all these like boomers, like boomer energies with their like lockdown's bad. And then you had Chris Sky show up with his energy about like, look at me, I'm fucking Chris Sky and I got all these like women with me who are against masks and lockdowns too. And like, it was very weird. He does come from money, so I guess his father is a realist or a construction builder, owns a construction company. So he comes from money. I think he owns a gym. Anyways, he has a history of anti-Semitic posts that we've already talked about on stream before, and so I think some of them might come up here, so we don't have to go over them. But we had information that Chris Sky was anti-Semitic way before this occurred, which happened this past Tuesday. Okay? So Rebel should have known when they were platforming this guy that he had this anti-Semitic behavior, not just in his past, but recently, and did nothing about it. Just like they platformed Faith Goldie up until the point when she went on an out-and-out neo-Nazi podcast and then joked about the fact that Ezra is Jewish. That's when they finally got rid of her, even though they allowed her to be on Rebel News creating videos like white genocide about how Muslims are overpopulating and going to kill the white race. They allowed that on their platform, but as soon as she went on a neo-Nazi podcast, it became very hard for them to play defense for her and had to get rid of her. Okay? So this is why this exchange interests me. Because what we're going to get is David Menzies confronting Chris Sky's anti-Semitism. And I don't fully know why they did it. I haven't watched this yet. So maybe I know what happens is there's going to be like maybe 15 minutes of this is the actual interview. And then the last 15 minutes is like David Menzies and Ezra having a one-on-one sort of like chit chat about like what to take away from the interview that we're about to watch. The last thing to note about Chris Sky is he recently got kicked out of a anti-mask rally, I want to say was in Ottawa. And I recommend going to Tony's Twitter feed for any information on that. Let me just get the @ handle so I remember correctly. @TonyYVCE. So any of that you can find on Tony's stuff. He's an anti-fascist activist, does all this stuff, is wonderful. He documented this. They ended up pulling the plug on Chris's mic in the middle of his speech and disrupted him. A whole bunch of shit was going on, right? He then was invited to go do this speaking thing with someone in Toronto named Karima. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Or Ken, I think you might have the better pronunciation.
I think it's
Karima?
Karima.
Karima.
Karima or Karima. I'm not sure.
Karima. I gotta get it all fucked up in my head now. Karima, she used to go around the anti-mask protests and troll the anti-maskers and built up a large following around that. Which is like cool. I even started following her. I was like, look at her trolling the anti-mask people. This is all cool, well and good. Hooray. Okay? Then it like started taking on a very performative, grifty vibe to it. And I stopped following her. She started doing like karaoke's out in front of her like place of business in Chinatown. It was very weird. Then she decided to invite Chris Sky to do a kind of like debate slash comedy show something and promoted the event like it was a wrestling match. And anti-fascist activists started like coming after her going, what are you doing? Don't platform this asshole. He's going to bring his like gang of assholes who are going to harass people in Chinatown. Why would you invite people here? This is not a good idea. Right? A whole bunch of things. She refused any of their warnings. Then Chris Sky, so some anti-fascist, I think, blocked off a part of Chinatown. Then Chris Sky came. There was a huge fight to Chinatown. She's totally going to lose her lease. Yeah, so all that shit blows up. And the reason why I bring that up is because this is coming off the back of this interview that we're about to watch. And it's interesting because Karima, and Dean Blondell are like siding with Chris Sky against anti-fascist people. Meanwhile, Rebel News, who Karima then started retweeting because Rebel News was there at the event filming what happened to Chris Sky in a positive light, being like, look how bad the anti-fascists are, look what they did to Chris Sky. Mocha was there. And Karima starts retweeting Rebel News as if they're doing a good thing here. Then this interview happens, and Dean Blondell, who's like a shock jock kind of asshole, used to be on like 102.1 The Edge, which played like alternative rock back in the day that I used to listen to. He's a huge liberal, is friends with Karima, and now he's siding with Chris Sky over Rebel News as well. And it's just, like, all this stuff is like weird and messed up, and like liberals are taking weird stances here. And so the weird part of me is like when this came out, I was like, holy shit, David Menzies is doing more hard-hitting journalism than fucking Karima is. Yeah. But I don't know that's the case. We're going to watch it. But that's the background going into this interview is everything that I just laid out there. And now we're going to see how David Menzies handles this interview, to what extent he confronts Chris Sky on his anti-Semitism, to what evidence does he have? I have none of the details. But we're going to find out. Sorry for the long, rambling introduction there. Just a lot of weird moving parts.
We needed the lore. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know to what extent either that they're going to do a good job at this, because the one clip I've seen in the second half of this where Ezra and David Menzies are having a chit chat, it sounds like Ezra wants to defend Chris Sky, and you have to understand why. So if you subscribe to this channel, a sound plays where Ezra says, "I'm young and I'm black," or "I'm young and I'm black and my pants hats backwards and my pants are down low," or something like this. I can't remember the line. It's a line from Jay-Z, and Ezra was quoting Jay-Z, saying that Chris Sky is Jay-Z. We have a video up on our YouTube which plays this whole segment, but Ezra thinks that Chris Sky is like Jay-Z in that he's fighting the law and he's being mask profile or anti-mask profiled, much like Jay-Z was being racially profiled or something, right? And so Ezra has this very like positive view of Chris Sky. So it's weird that like they would do this in a way. I don't know what the angle is. And so Ezra comes in with a soft
racial
defense.
profiling.
Racial program. Yes, indeed. I don't think it's going to play the sound because of it's a resubscribe. My thing is weird that way. I got to fix it. I can play an audio clip of it. Since why not? You did it. Let's have the thing play. Ba-ba-ba-da. Forget where I shoved the folder. I thought I still had it on the main one here. I don't know why this is being difficult. I have too many drives. Too many drives. Thought it was on desktop. It is on desktop. There it is. All right. Where are you? Here we go. Here's Ezra quoting Jay-Z.
I don't know. Because I'm young and I'm black and my hat's down low.
I don't know. It's because I'm young and I'm black and my hat's down low. Okay. So that's what we got. Rebel is very concerned about the white man being profiled. Yes, it's very weird, and yet they go after him here. So now we're done. Now we're done preamble. Thank you so much, Two Cars, for the resubscription. Thank you very much. Now let's watch it.
Well, it's been a frantic few months for anti-lockdown crusader Chris Sky, a man who is either beloved or hated, depending on who you talk to. In any event, there is so much to unpack when it comes to Chris's recent cross-Canada speaking trip. So without further ado, let's get a much-needed update. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm fantastic, absolutely.
Well, you're looking very healthy. So glad to see you. Now, I think, like I said, there's so much to unpack here. Why don't we begin with the last time I saw you, namely last week, Dominion Day in Ottawa on the lawns of the Supreme Court. There was a kerfuffle that I was unaware of at the time because I was interviewing Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada, and literally in the background I see in the footage that we captured some scuffling happening. As I understand it, you were supposed to speak at this event, but others had other ideas. What happened that day?
Well, their narrative is that I was never invited to speak at the event. I just showed up with my big ego and decided to crash their event and take the speaking spots away from the poor nurses and other people who had speaking spots. And I was this big bad villain, and they're just trying to save everybody from me and try to save the movement from me because I'm going to destroy the whole anti-lockdown movement.
No.
So, infighting, hooray! I do want to say, yes, they said Dominion Day. Does anyone know why they say Dominion Day? Because, like, I don't know the history of all...
It's to be racist, that's it.
Well, like, but, like, racist in what way? Like, isn't Canada Day racist enough? Like, why Dominion Day? I guess, is it,
I think it's because it, like, celebrates the relationship with like, Britain still. And it's also the original name of the holiday. So that's what it was called from 1879 to 1982.
So there's also, like, the tradition, like, vibe to it.
Yeah.
This is also Hildebrand. He's from the church in Elmer, which is really close to where we live, who was refusing to lock down and has been ticketed a whole bunch. All I know is that Jason Kenney stopped saying Dominion Day this year and started saying Canada Day because being a total piece of shit is his or it's like, because, like, they always complain that Kenny doesn't go far enough, so maybe that was Kenny trying to, like, somewhat appease some people by, like, not being a total fash by calling it Dominion Day, but then, like, I don't know. I mean, fuck Kenny. I'm not trying to defend him. I just it is just weird to start calling it Canada Day now, though.
When you say
reality,
they, just
they is Randy Hillier, the PPC, all the politicians that are secretly trying to hijack the freedom movement and turn it into a failed and irrelevant political campaign. They don't want me to speak because my message is united non-compliance. It is and always has been. It's the same thing Gandhi used to beat oppressive governments. You simply get the entire population together for a common good cause, and in this case, it's take off your mask, open your business, and that's it. And the pandemic's over, and you don't need a politician for that. You don't need an election for that. And that's exactly why they didn't want me speaking, because they want you to need them. If you don't need them, if you don't give them your money and your support, they don't have a job. They don't even exist. And
so I can already see here probably what's going on here is that Rebel has been completely unsupportive of all the figures that he mentioned there. Randy Hillier, Maxime Bernier, Derek Sloan, which are the politicians that have been, like, supporting these movement stuff. And Chris Sky here is taking a more like fuck the government approach, comparing himself to Gandhi. Jesus Christ. I don't. And why? Because he's against any government. So it's like he's libertarian. Do you think it's like a libertarian attitude, or like what the fuck is going on there?
That's the vibe that I'm getting. But
Yeah, very.
See,
weird.
Chris Sky wasn't anti-Semitic or racist until he was like, you know what? I'm going to take a Gandhian approach to this.
yeah,
Chris Sky, noted Gandhi. I mean, like, here's the thing: is he yells and harasses at fucking the people in shop fronts and stuff like that. Rick says, "What an absolutely bizarre pair of human beings." Yeah, seeing them side by side is quite the contrast.
Also, that clip of him being lifted up was like wonderful.
Those were his like.
Like I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be disruptive to him or not. Okay.
No, it wasn't until later that I realized.
Like, he just
he was
seemed delighted
laughing.
by it.
Yeah. It was his friend was the dude beside him laughing while that was happening. So my guess is that it was more friendly. I would imagine he would be really fucking pissed off if, if that was some random doing that to him.
So they're trying to hijack this freedom movement. No more lockdowns is Randy Hillier's organization. They were throwing the event in conjunction with a place called Liberty Coalition. Kellyanne Wolf contacted them on my behalf to verify that I would be able to speak there after I got notification from my lawyer that I was legally allowed to. They emailed back from the official no more lockdowns email stating, yes, Chris is allowed to speak at the Supreme Court. And I showed you that. I told you I couldn't give it to you, and I'm not going to show it to anybody until 2 Peters, but I did show you that it exists, so you can confirm that I had an email stating that I was allowed to speak at the Supreme Court. You saw it, right?
I saw something. I mean, in this day and age of shenanigans online, who knows? But Chris, the big...
When was the last time you've seen David Menzies be skeptical like that? I don't know. I feel it's clear to me that they want to take the side of the politicians in the struggle. And like they've been like this since the start of the rebel, right? They got kicked out of the conservatives, but they want back in. They want political they want the political capital to a certain extent. I think they want to be associated with people who can fundraise and stuff like this. So then like the shadow donors and whatnot will flood money to them. You know what I mean? Like that's part of their grift is like that they have these connections and stuff like that.
Excuse me. Wait. I'm gonna dial you back there. Did I not show you an email?
Yes.
That said Chris was allowed to speak at the Supreme Court.
You did.
Okay, that's all I want to say.
But I'm just not one of those technical persons that can verify.
Well, it will be verified because I will be giving the exact document. So the reality is.
But Chris, if I may interrupt.
Go ahead.
I find this a little sad, and I'll tell you why. Whether you're Mr. Hillier, Mr. Bernier, Pastor Hildebrandt, yourself, others, you all should be on the same page. You are all about opening up the economy.
No, we're not. That's the problem. We're not on the same page.
You don't think so?
No, they're on the page where they want to.
So we'll hear his rant in a second. I just wanted Core 10 said Hamish Marshall is totes. There's like a tiny little fly that's in my face. Hamish Marshall is totes miscoats. I'm pretty sure they're cool with the cons behind the scenes. Here's where I think like that's partly true in that like I don't trust Hamish Marshall. So Hamish Marshall used to be a producer for Rebel News. Hamish was during the Great Exodus left, which was Charlottesville, Faith Goldie, all that fallout, and then left to go work on Andrew Scheer's campaign. So I'm sure there could be some connections there, but I don't think that the split was cordial between them. So I don't know. I mean, the worry there is more the fact that Rebel types are now working. Because, like, Hamish Marshall, Brian Lilly, in particular those two, worked for Rebel while Faith Goldie was producing pieces called White Genocide. Okay? Lauren Southern was doing similar material. Gavin McGinnis was doing blackface and all this shit that he does. Right? So these people were all working together. But as soon as Charlottesville happened, and as soon as Faith Goldie went on a neo-Nazi podcast, and as soon as the conservatives pulled their support, Hamish and Brian Lilly jumped ship. So, and you can tell by their politics today, still shitty people. But damn it, my landlord called and I had to go. As far as I know, did I miss the pushback on the anti-Semitic stuff? Not yet. That'll be coming up.
To turn the freedom movement, which is simply people getting up off their ass, doing what they need to do to end this, like take off their mask and open their business, and they want them to sit on their couch, throw their money and their votes towards these politicians, wait for an election, and then wait, hopefully, for their guy to win, and then let that guy be the one to tell them what to do. That's the politicians' thing. And that's why they used me. They invited me to speak. The same day I got the email that said I could speak, a flyer went out with my name on it. They said it was an unofficial flyer. And I have a time-stamped email, and I have timestamps showing when the flyer was posted. And the flyer was created and posted after we got email confirmation saying I was allowed to speak. And then I promoted it on every single platform possible. So I brought a huge number of the people there. So what do we have? We have the politicians telling me I could come speak. We have me promoting the hell out of their event and me driving 5 hours to get there and show up for the event. Then as soon as I got there, I walked up to the stage and I politely asked what time I would be speaking at, because I was trying to coordinate a phone call with somebody in a different country who wanted to record the event. And one of the PPC members went up to me and said, "Oh, well, we," and I said, "Who's we?" And he declined to tell me who we was. "We had an internal risk assessment, and we decided it wasn't in our best interests to allow you to speak. So instead, we're going to give you time at the end to do a shout out, and then you can tell everybody to go to Parliament Hill and you can speak there." Parliament.
So this seems weird to me, and it seems weird to me in part because like the PPC hasn't been that good at policing their members like racism and like other shit. In fact, they've been pretty like open about that shit. There is the stressing of the we, like what does he mean by we? That gets a little bit awkward, considering what's going to happen. But as if it's almost like they, you know. But there's still a sense in which, like, why, if what he's saying is true, why would the PPC care? I mean, the PPC have been openly fucking racist. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to crack on it now because they realize they got decimated in the last election. So they realize they have to be a little bit more obfuscatory when it comes to the racism, maybe? I'm not sure.
That's basically what I was going to say, too. Yeah.
Hill wasn't in everyone wearing orange and anti-candidate event. So obviously I didn't want to speak there. Obviously they knew I didn't want to speak there. So they basically invited me, used me to promote their event, and then set me up to basically be cast aside so they could take my entire support base and transfer it from the freedom movement into their own personal political campaign. And then because I'm who I am, and I fight for freedom, I fight for truth, I fight for justice, I fight for honor, and I'm not going to let anybody take advantage of me. I stood up for myself and said, you guys are the People's Party, right? So why don't we let the people decide if I should be allowed to speak? And I said, let me ask the people. They said no. So the People's Party didn't even want to allow me to ask the people for their opinion.
Where's he looking
so I said,
this
guess
whole time?
what?
Yeah. At the universe.
That's what I'm trying to figure out is like, you know, because Menzies clearly has a sheet in front of him that he's drawing from for his questions and shit, but Chris Sky can't even look him in the face.
Yeah, and there's so much going on here that's like bizarre to me. In part, like, or not even bizarre, just kind of like interesting in like the overlap between certain things. Like getting back to Charlottesville, like Unite the Right had its own schisms where like there was always this tension on the right between those who are capable of like dog whistling better or doing better at hiding their underlying racist beliefs, and those who are way more open and overt. And I get the idea, I get the feeling. Now he might not, again, he's not all the way to the far right as like an out and out Nazi, right? But there's an element here in which I get where it's like he wants to be a bit more open and doesn't open about his racism and doesn't like that the People's Party is trying to silence his freedom for being openly bigoted in certain ways, even though he won't go the full tilt as like other people, right? There's always these weird tensions and infighting on the right about being open and being silenced and like all this shit. And I have similar vibes with that and the right wing movements generally in what's going on here.
Now you don't have a choice. I'm going to take that megaphone. I'm going to walk up on the Supreme Court steps. I'm going to ask the audience if they want me to speak. And when everybody says yes, I'm going to take over your event. And then everyone's going to know you tried to silence me. And that's exactly what I did.
Chris, you said it yourself.
That was a weird cut. There was a cut. I wonder why that happened. I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out like if they're in the same room together or not, because it's so like we know that the front of the desk is photoshopped. We know that the background is a green screen. Like, where is I'm very caught up with like where is he looking? Why is he like physically acting the way that he is?
Probably because Mocha's behind the camera. That would be my guess. You could be looking at Mocha.
Okay, true.
I don't know, because it's very weird.
He's not looking at the camera either.
No, but Mocha might not be behind the camera. Could be sitting beside it. But like, I get the vibe that like it's a very artificial setting, and it's like you can't just turn and like talk to David the whole time. Like that is bad. So he's probably like chatting to Mocha because like that's easier for him, rather than staring at like a blank wall and sort of. I mean, like I could say that myself. I am. How many times am I looking at the camera, just moving around?
I did want to say, and sorry, apologies. I'm having some audio issues, so I'm not sure if Viano can hear me. Oh, good. Okay. They did a shot earlier where they kind of like went to the side to put the lower third with his name on it, and he was still looking off to the right. So like, I don't know. It's just such a really strange situation, strange establishing shot they've got going on.
It is funny, like they do this, and I feel like this is a holdover from him being on Sun News, and like because they would do the same thing with Ezra, where they would just have like the backdrops like this and do like the green screen. But it's like that feels so artificial and weird having them like again, as we pointed out, like the desk is not real. Like you can notice the cup is not sitting on the desk. Like I guess they're trying to have the illusion that there's like a top part of the desk and then like a lower part kind of thing, but it is, you could tell with the like the shading here, it is a fake desk. It's photoshopped. So they're probably sitting in like we've seen footage of like Mocha and Lincoln J sitting in like a room in like what clearly is like an office cubicle in like Toronto, and my guess that's where this is being shot. They just lower a green screen. They have just your standard like cheap table that they're sitting at, and then they green screen the desk and the logo on it. Very weird that they do that, but that's what they do. They're inside a
sad life.
The E word, ego, as a neutral observer, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I think we are witnessing in the anti-lockdown movement perhaps a clash of egos. Twas ever thus when you have so many people vying to be the leader, the spokesman, what have you. This is what happens with that. But I mean, is that really what we're seeing? The anti-lockdown movement.
What we're seeing now is that I'm starting to believe that you might be part of this controlled opposition because you're trying to push their narrative and you're trying to pretend like the truth doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with ego.
No,
if I invited you to speak somewhere. If I invited you to speak somewhere, that's an allegation because I'm saying what you just said. Okay. If I invited you to speak somewhere, I have documented evidence, and then you got there, and I tried to tell you you weren't going to speak, and you stood up for yourself because that's what's right and that's what's true. Am I going to say that that's your ego talking, or I'm going to say you're just somebody who's standing up for what's right?
Well, first of all, it was just my observation, and I can
that's an observation
people can control.
That's an observation people can make without having the facts. I just gave you the facts. I even showed you the evidence, and you still brought up the exact same narrative that every single opposition person has been saying, trying to push the ego thing, and you just pushed it after we got documented evidence, and I just laid out exactly what happened. So I don't know now.
Controlled opposition. I get like spicy. I saw some of this. I feel like it's gonna get spicier, but I like this accusation of controlled opposition. I mean, like, because he's partly right. he's partly right. I mean, wouldn't it be like they work with all these politicians, right? So it would not. I mean, work is loose, but like they're friendly. Christopher
They shake hands.
Cloud and Sky is loud. Oh yeah, I mean of course he is. What did you say, Ken?
I just said they shake hands at on stage and stuff. These guys with politicians.
Well, what was it? He got a ticket for smiling and laughing with Hillier and
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, let's move on from July 1st. Of course, front page news back in May. There's the Chris Guy story. Anti-masker Chris Guy allegedly threatened to kill Ontario leader than all other premiers. Chris, that was a bombshell story.
I forgot to mention that in the preamble. Totally fucking forgot about it. That he got arrested for threatening to kill the premier.
Yeah, he's had a time.
Oh my god, completely fucking forgot about that. I mean, the thing that I was talking about when Ezra was comparing him to Jay-Z was he got a summons to a court and had like a panic attack on live stream and was freaking out, being like, "I'm not getting out of my car," and then he threatened to kill the police officer, right? Because he was like, "And I'm gonna fucking kill you with my lawyer." So he has a history of threatening people, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.
The man making the allegations, Rob Carbone.
And that's the only evidence they have, by the way, allegations from somebody.
Yep.
So that's the equivalent of me calling the police right now and saying, Dave Menzies wants to kill Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, let me ask you point blank. Did you ever say that? Did you ever say that you wanted to kill any politician?
No.
Okay. So.
Yeah, we have video evidence of him saying he wanted to kill a police officer. Just throwing it out there. I mean, he followed it up with his lawyer, which I guess, like, so he's going to bludgeon him to the cop to death with his lawyer? Or
Now, the other part of this is, Rob...
So they're doing this. This dude's smoking right... This fucking weird-looking dude right here with the cigarette and the sunglasses. That's Rob Carbone. Apparently, he wanted to start the Republican Party of Canada. I don't know much about him beyond that, except that he does like commercials that he's gonna like run for president of Canada or some shit like this. And he wears this suit and he smokes a cigarette and all the hair, and he's just a weird fucking dude. But let's also acknowledge this: GMOs equal disease equal pharmaceuticals equals money equals New World Order.
That's too much math.
Oh my god. I didn't know all these things were the same. I mean, that's the identity relation through equality, right? New World Order. Do you want to say? I am pro-GMOs. Pump those GMOs in my veins. Pump those pharmaceuticals. Fully vaxxed here. Love it. Love it.
I would still argue that y equals mx plus b is the worst mathematical equation that I've seen.
But also, so Chris Sky there, when he did the deep voice to be like, David Menzies killed Rob. That he was pretending to be Rob Carbone. That's kind of like his shtick. He's this, I'm Rob Carbone. So there you go. Again, like there's an element of this where there's a lot of weird peripheral figures that I personally just don't give a shit about. Like Rob Carbone. This hopefully will be the last and only time I talk about him. So there you have it.
Rob Carbone, who he and you were buddy for so many months.
I can tell you exactly what happened with Rob Carbone in about 5 seconds and clear everything up. Rob Carbone presented himself as Canada's Donald Trump. He presented himself as someone that had international banking ties. He had me put in contact with banking people around the world. He presented me with these bank bonds that on face value, when checked out, appeared to be real, even when verified by multiple agencies that verify these kind of things. However, when it came down to the actual paperwork for these things, nobody could verify the paperwork, so they were obviously fraudulent in some way because they could not be used. That was just part of the problem. Rob lied about virtually everything. He tried to hire a campaign team to register the Republican Party, and after about 5 weeks of working with these people, they came to me and they confessed none of them had been paid $1. Then his website said he hadn't been paid. Then his merch guy told me he hadn't been paid. Then I saw the notification that he hadn't even paid his friggin' rent. This is a supposed billionaire that's going to run the country and save the country, and he scammed multiple people for money. And then when I found out that he committed fraud, and I had actual evidence of a retiree wire transferring $15,000 to Rob Carbone from his from his thing to Rob's thing, and all the correspondence of Rob coercing this man to do so for an investment that doesn't even exist. I came to Rob and said, Rob, not only did you not pay anybody that you were supposed to pay, now I find out you can't pay your rent and you're taking people's money for investments that don't exist. That's called fraud.
So
I'm not going to.
I wonder, like, how, like, why did he go along with this dude in the first place? Like, who goes, hey, listen, Ken, I'm a billionaire. Okay, you want to see a bank bond?
Oh, do I?
What?
Like you're holding open a trench coat of watches, but it's bank bonds instead.
And what is he saying? Like, he would only support this person if he's a billionaire because then he would be the next Donald Trump. If he wasn't that, he wouldn't have supported him at all. So if not for, like, if these bonds were real, he would totally be on board with this fucking weirdo who just shows up and is like, I'm going to be president of Canada.
I mean, he's the son of like a fairly successful real estate dude, right? So this is a kid from money who understands, nothing else.
There's so many, like, weird, these people are all weird. This is such weird infighting. This is like high school drama, but for, like, rich people that are weird. Everything about this is weird.
You could have just said rich people.
Yeah. Well, rich people are just, like, immature because they've never had to live a day in their lives.
Like a rich person who doesn't hold like these kinds of like weird fucking views. That's strange enough that they're weird too.
Yeah.
Going to get in trouble for you. I'm going to have to report this. And then within 2 days, Rob called the police and said, oh my God, Chris is threatening to kill me. Chris is threatening to kill Doug Ford and everybody else. Come get him quick.
And his allegations in the story, of course, is that
Oh, they were best. This is Photoshop. This is a Photoshopped image. Look at the fucking angle on that.
Oh, the hair. Yeah, the hair up
angle
there.
on that hair.
I wonder. Okay, so who did the Photoshop? Like, is this something that Rebel smashed together, or is this some weird thing on like Chris Sky's Insta or something?
I don't know. And why would they? This is fucking weird.
It's bad on Chris Sky's face too. On the right side of Chris Sky's face, it's all like, like you can kind of see.
Yeah, that could be light blur though. It's definitely really blurry there though. That is yeah, I mean there's something with the hair that I don't know. This is just a weird fucking picture. Why would they play this? It's like they're purposefully trying to be like, look, they were best friends, and then Chris Sky threw this poor Rob guy under the bus. All with his like,
that's what I'm saying.
His bail bonds and the bonds that it was going to be a rich billionaire Donald Trump figure. The weird thing, like Carbone, I don't even know if Carbone has ever been on like Rebel before, so I don't know why, or if they have, he's been on like the periphery, and so like why would they care about this infight between the two of these people? That is weird too.
It might just be like, this is maybe my conspiratorial part coming out, but it's like, it might just be they're trying to distance themselves from the Chris Sky element of this stuff because, like you said, they still want to be in with politicians. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's a bit of a reach. This image is a bit of a reach, frankly.
Yeah. We'll speculate about some of that at the end, I think, because it gets weird with things, I think. Anyways, we'll see.
you wanted money from him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Turned off the taps and
turned off the taps. Yeah, he can't even pay his rent. He turned off the taps. Good luck, buddy.
So who exactly?
And I'm a billionaire, but I'm renting a condo. Okay. Anyway, guys.
But who exactly is Rob Carbone then, Chris? I mean, there are
He's a
allegations
con,
he
a
might
liar,
be an
and a
informant.
fraud. And
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
Allegedly.
and I would say he's an informant with the police, and I will say that because of the way I was arrested. Because the way I was arrested, they lie in the media and say they came to my house and that I jumped in a car and ran away from them and tried to run police officers over. That's the allegations that they put in all these newspapers that I saw. Reality check. Reality was I was driving to the gym. I was on Keel Street heading westbound.
I forgot about this part of the story. So apparently, like, he ran from the police. That was reported. And then the police waited, like, the next day for him to turn himself in. I forgot about that. This stream brought to you by Diet Pepsi, which is kind of gross if we're honest. I always do, like, when I'm drinking it and I know it's going to be seen, I always feel it's like I become some sort of, like, prop advertisement. But I drink Diet Pepsi, whatever. But I would encourage you not to participate in cap. I don't know what I'm saying.
From King Road
No ethical
on a
consumption
normal
cap.
public road, driving normally, when a completely innocuous gray sedan, completely unmarked, completely unidentified, drove by me on the left-hand side. Nobody identified themselves. There was no markings on the vehicle or the occupants in the car. And when they passed me, they got in front of me and they slammed on their brakes.
Fuck
And as
Keyless
soon as they
these
slammed
fucks.
on their brakes, I had to actually stop in the middle of the road on Keel Street, heading westbound. And as soon as I stopped in the middle of the road, two men,
heel
not
McTurn.
wearing uniforms, in black masks covering their face, with guns drawn in their hands, start running at my car. Like it's a Colombian drug cartel kidnapping.
What? Fat boy Tro. Fat boy Tro. I like saying it faster. It has a nice ring to it. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Dang, this is some Fast and Furious shit. I want to hear like the weird like why he had to say Colombians, but it is weird to me. So like, there's police officers running at him with guns, and I'm sure he's gonna be like, "I was scared" or something, and so drove away. And it's like, I don't know. That's a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
And I'm somebody that gets death threats virtually every single day. So what would you or anybody with a brain in this situation do? And what they acknowledge I did, I put my truck in reverse, created a safe amount of distance, put it in drive, and drove around the two unidentified assailants to get away. That's what I did. All of a sudden, that got turned into I tried to run over a police officer or assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Everything here is politically motivated. It was timed to coincide with I was supposed to leave the next day for a tour and to launch my book in Vancouver.
Oh, look at him promoting a book now. I want to say, like, we comment about this all the time with Rebel News and like even the last story about the stupid fucking quarry and about how, like, these white people be breaking laws and just never seeing any ramifications for it. And there's like a similar instance here. Chris just ran from the police officers who he claims had their guns drawn and were fucking chasing him down a street. And they gave him the space necessary to turn himself in the next day. So for one, if it's true they had their guns out, did they need to have their guns out? And two, if these people are more likely to just turn themselves in, why go out and arrest people like this anyways? End of the story. Cops are fucking useless, is what I'm trying to say. But also just the discrepancy of, like, of course he can run from the police and they won't even chase him, you know?
And coincidentally, I get arrested the very night before, and they put all these conditions on me to try to prevent me. I can't drive, I can't fly, I had to be with my bail surety. They got a warrant to go to my house and take all my legally owned firearms, all based on the hearsay of somebody making a phone call to the police and saying,
Notice here, so they're using Lily, anti-masker accused of threatening to kill Ford and other premiers. So Lily, Brian Lilly, he was the co-founder with Ezra of Rebel News. So of course they're going to use him as a friendly source. Lily left during the Charlottesville incident. And I think currently Lily is dating the someone who works for the Doug Ford administration. So of course he's going to be talking about the allegations of that this Chris Guy wanted to kill Doug Ford because Lily is, through his partner, connected with the Ford administration. It's all fucking connected and gross.
I said something.
Chris, switching gears again, moving on to the weird world of social media, and I have to bring this up because it's a thing.
Oh, here it
We
comes.
even get questions. Why do you give Chris Guy the time of day, given that he is a Holocaust denier? And
I am not a Holocaust denier. I have been to the concentration camps. How many of you so-called Holocaust proponents have actually gone to Germany, spent hours on a train, hours more on a bus, and then hours more exploring Sachsenhausen concentration camp? I saw where they kept the Jewish people. I saw where they kept the non-Jewish people.
I want to just say here, the funny thing here, Holocaust deniers all go to the concentration camps. And they do it because they have doubts about the Holocaust and need to, like, pick apart, like, certain elements and just, like, there's a door missing here when it should be there, and like there's things on the wall that should, and then like, and so yes, Holocaust deniers 100% go to the concentration camps. Of course they fucking do. And yes, calling it Holocaust proponents is a weird fucking term, Two Cars, which tells me that he's just like, all you fucking people over there that believe the believe the official narrative, all you people. Yeah, there's definitely a whole bunch of iffy shit that's coming up here. Jack Posobiec seemed to think that Auschwitz was very romantic. Oh my god. Jack Posobiec used to be an employee of Rebel News. It's all good. Did my internet cut out, or are people just silent in the voice chat?
No, we're just silent.
Oh no.
I'm here.
Yeah,
That's
forgive
cool.
me.
I just got nervous.
Home things.
I just got nervous after the internet cut out last time. That's all.
No, I'm listening to the return of my neighbors while also listening to Chris Guy's bullshit.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
working
for
at motivation
being present.
to grab some ice cream.
Well, why do you need to motivate yourself? Grab your fucking ice cream. No time like the
Because
present.
I'm laying
right?
down on the couch.
Fair. That's fair. No, Corten, I appreciate the chatting. I got worried because the internet cut out last time, and for some reason with the internet cutting out, there's like a delay where it still lets me stream and like the chat still works for a bit. So I just wanted to make sure there wasn't no I got nervous for a second. I got self-conscious, but that's all right. They're in awe of your amazing oratory. I don't know if that's it, but I mean, probably the bigger element is just like, what more is there to say? Just blatant anti-Semitism we're probably going to receive here. And let's hear it. Let's hear the rest of it.
The only thing I've said about the Holocaust is when they tell you 6 million people died, that's a biblical reference, and it's about fulfilling a prophecy for the Jews to come home to their homeland. And they've used that reference multiple times in media well before World War II, going back all the way to the early 1900s.
What?
I love how uncomfortable David looked.
I was just thinking that already.
Immediately, where he's like, the only thing I'm saying, and David was like, oh fuck, oh
Yeah.
no, oh Jesus.
I've had to experience my fair share of Holocaust deniers. I think this is the first time I've heard this talking point.
Yeah, the biblical reference one. This is a new one for me too.
I have a feeling it's some connection with Israel that somehow. But I guess like the idea is that there was going to be this thing, 6 million were going to die, and that like gets us to, like I have no fucking clue where he's getting it. But that's a new one to me. Let's hear more of this fun stuff.
So that is not Holocaust denial. And the only other thing I said about World War II that people try to criticize is, yes, we know Jewish people were persecuted. We know they were killed, and it's horrible. But so were 30.
You never say but after that. Listen, so were 30
million other people during World War II. So we need to remember everybody. And when I said we need to remember everybody, they're like, oh my God, you're a Holocaust denier. It's like,
well,
Again,
yeah.
go ahead, sorry.
You're
No,
probably going to say the same thing. Well, it's just like, the way the Jews died was a lot different. And the justifications for why they died were a lot different than everyone else.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was going to go a different direction in that I can see David's face right now,
Yeah.
and I'm betting he wished he had not like played up the All Lives Matter shit a few months ago, because can't use that argument now. Can't
He's literally thinking in this moment, it's like, oh, I might have to take that fucking video down. Well, I might have to rethink my life.
Because it is. It's Chris Guy doing like, no, all the casualties matter, all of them. We can't pay special attention. And here's David like, fuck, dude, come on.
But like, I mean, like, them latching onto the Holocaust has been part of their shtick. I mean, especially the pro-Israel shtick. And like, even right now, Ezra is in the middle of comparing the Catholic Church burnings to Kristallnacht, which was like a I guess, beginning stages of the Holocaust, right? Part of the passage to the gas chambers. And so there's an element in which they trivialize it. And then the fact that they had Gavin McGinnis on their fucking show. They are still on friendly terms with Gavin McGinnis. And Gavin McGinnis had a video that was on Rebel that was called 10 Things I Hate About Jews. And in that conversation, Gavin discusses the 6 million figure and casts out on it. Okay? And this is a video that I think is still still up on Rebel and still behind a paywall. Okay? So it's weird to me that it's clear to me that what they're doing here, the uncomfortableness that David is experiencing, I feel, is they want Chris Sky and his audience to be on the side of the politicians. And they're mad that Chris Sky is playing this rebel. And that's the only reason they're bringing up the anti-Semitism. That is my sense of this situation. Otherwise, they knew all of this before. Why had they never confronted Chris Sky in the past? Instead, they compared Chris Sky to Jay-Z.
I mean, this is the part of the video that I think, if I were behind the editing, I would zoom in on Menzies' face and crank up the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.
Yeah, it's very weird. And it's like one of those things. We'll never be like, we'll never be present during the in-house discussion. Although they are going to have a discussion after this, so I guess we'll see when Ezra comes in how it goes. Whether he's going to condemn Menzies for like, why did you be mean to my friend, or if he's going to be like, well, you did what you had to do, Menzies.
Like when someone says all lives matter, and then someone screams, oh, that means you mean black lives don't matter. No, that's not what it means at all. So
it's weird that like you called it. He fucking went to the same point.
Oh, you mean you have to? You have to. Like, you're doing it. You have to be like, no, it's fine. Yeah, good job, Chris. Good job, David. What's that? What's that old saying, David? Lay down with dogs, wake up with fleas. It's on you. It's on you, man.
Well, it's been on them for fucking 2015 since they started, and before that because they were terrible long before they even started Rebel.
Anyway, that's complete bull.
Well, Chris, because the internet is forever, I mean, some of those posts from years ago have been republished. Here's one, quote, 6 million Jews were murdered is the biggest...
Okay, so I'm going to read the whole quote since he's not reading it all. Over 30 million people were killed in World War II. Some of them were Jewish. Most of them were Catholic. But nice try. And then in quotes it says, 6 million Jews were murdered. Is the biggest lie ever created in the history of fake Jew history. They used 6 million number to support their own biblical prophecy. There were barely 11 million Jews in the entire world at the time. It's pretty pathetic to try and say Hitler got half of them. That sounds pretty genocide denial-y, if you ask me.
Not only does it sound Holocaust denial, but it also sounds pretty similar to what he literally just said.
I mean, even referring to fake Jew history is a bit icky. I mean, it feeds into a lot of anti-Semitic tropes, like the idea that like there's a cabal of Jews that are controlling world history, right?
Yeah.
Lie created in the history of fake Jew history, end quote.
That is,
why would you say that?
Because 6 million people did not die in the Holocaust. If 6 million...
How many did then?
We have no idea of knowing.
Really?
But for them to claim an exact number when it's completely impossible of knowing, it's completely impossible of knowing. And there's lots of different references like the World Almanac that show the population before and after. When Israel was created between 1946 and 1948 with all the stuff that was going on, millions of Jewish people habitated to there. So 6 million people didn't just die, they relocated. So when they say 6...
So they kept, they had demographic data back then and census and all that fun stuff. So everything he's saying here is just complete shit. I will point out as well, he's not going as far, and maybe he's knowing better to not go as far as some other Holocaust deniers go. A lot of people use this like game with numbers to claim that no persecution happened at all and the whole thing was made up. he seems to just be saying that like the exact numbers are off, but I guess persecution still happened or some weird shit he's trying to like carve out here, right? But like my response often to the people who deny the 6 million figure because figure's different, or often what they'll do is they'll cite like a bunch of differing numbers and go, see, it's all just made up. No one knows exactly how many die. It's all just like bullshit. And my favorite response to that is I show them like differing numbers about the purported numbers of deaths in like World War One. So like the actual combatants, not people who are civilians or terminated and like other things. And so those numbers of like combatants differ as well. And so then I go, so therefore World War One never happened.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't seem to be going that far, at least here. So I guess like kudos to that. I guess if you could give it a kudos, it's still denialist in other ways and icky and weird. But yeah, it's just like these number things are like yeah, six. I guarantee you, 6 million is not an accurate number because like that is like too rounded, clearly. But it's like it's in that ballpark is the correct answer that most scholars agree is likely around 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. It wasn't just through displacement and moving away; they actually died.
He's literally doing like a live action version of that meme. Like our expectations were low for you, but holy fuck.
In the time of World War II, the majority of people had emigrated there pre-1920. LOL. Yeah. If you think anything before 1990s actually happened, it's all fake news. That's right. History. There is no history.
Shit, we weren't born.
Because people have been debating history forever, there is no history. That makes sense to me.
6 million people, like I said, it's making reference to their biblical prophecy that says once 6 million of us perish, we will get our homeland back. But that's Chris, why they chose the number of 6 million, because it's written in their book.
Is it written in the Torah? I don't think it's in the Torah. I want to look up this claim here. Wait. Once, what did he say? Once 6 million Jews have perished.
Yeah, maybe just look up 6 million Jews Torah or something.
The Jews will get their homeland back. I mean, this is going to be a search that I'm going to have to do for later because nothing easy is coming up here.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a whole bunch of like Stormfront articles or something.
No, I for me the word searches is hitting a bunch of like history. It just might be a little bit more complicated. So let's put that to the side. But it's just the claim seems a bit ridiculous. As someone who's like personally, I study religions a lot. I'm very fascinated on the topic of religions, and I'm surprised. I'm also someone who's we've covered Palestine on the show before. It's one of the few, I guess, international topics that I at least have read somewhat about. And I feel like in reading in the history of Zionism and stuff like this would be a claim I would have like stumbled upon at some point in my research. I feel like if what he's saying is true, a Zionist would have brought it up at some point. You know what I mean? Just feels like that would not have been left out of the conversation if it were true.
There is no way of knowing how many people died in World War II. For someone to go and say 32 million people died in World War II, that's complete hogwash.
Well,
so for someone to be able to go and say, especially in concentration camps, that this many people died, a specific number, that's complete hogwash. There's no...
The IBM developed a punch card system for the fucking Nazis where they cataloged and like counted and like did all that shit. And we know that because we have the machines, we have the data. They burned some of it, they didn't burn all of it. Like, there was information available. There's an interesting story about this. There's this guy named Edwin Black who wrote a book called IBM and the Holocaust. And it's generally well received and is considered a great work of scholarship. Okay? And it connects IBM and their complicity in the Holocaust and how much they actually knew was going on. And IBM to this day refuses to take responsibility for what happened. Okay? But the weird thing about Edwin Black is even though that book is well received, I own it, I've read it, it's very good, I encourage other people to read it, Edwin Black is a very weird character who now goes on Alex Jones and Dinesh D'Souza. Okay? So Edwin Black today It's not someone I would trust, but apparently his first book was well received. So interesting, weird little history about Edwin Black. But yes, IBM cataloged a lot of this shit. Okay, I'm sorry, Chris Guy, but they did have information back there. It's not like we're only talking about the 1930s here. They had literature. They had the printed word. They were like, what does Chris think they were? Like they were just like they didn't know how to count people? Fucking Holocaust deniers are so weird.
No way of
They
knowing how
hadn't
many people
invented
died.
numbers that
Do
big
we-
yet.
They hadn't invented numbers. Yeah, well, what were numbers? They were still using the Roman system, so they couldn't. Once they got like all the symbols, it got confusing, and they couldn't handle it. Fair.
You know they were persecuted?
I would dispute
1,000,000%. That's indisputable. Do we know they killed a very large number of people, probably in the millions? Yes. Do we know that they killed 6 million on the dot, or 6 million, that number? No, and nobody could.
Well, and no scholar thinks that. Oh, I lost my headphones. Oh,
Every argument is that it's exactly 6 million. That entirely. That's everyone's argument right there.
yeah. 6
Just the
million
one
on the
number.
dot.
Yeah.
So the Germans
No
were
more,
like,
no less.
Okay, we reached 6 million. We're good.
Chris Guy just has to find one extra person. He blows the myth wide open.
There's a scholarly estimate of 5.3 to 6.2 million, which I'm okay with people colloquially of rounding to 6 million. Yeah, exactly. And Jewish communities kept track of their members. Yeah, I mean that too. I mean, I referenced the IBM thing in part only because, like, you know, it was the beginnings of computers, which is like a sad testament of the fact of like us using our technology was being engineered, and like part of the process of that was a catalog system that was used in a genocide. But yes, other communities kept track of their own numbers as well. But as you pointed out, yeah, the scholarly estimate 5.3 to 6.2. So most people ran to 6 million. Like, why is that a problem? As if we need an exact, like, to the point number being completely accurate here. I think people get the point when you say 6 million, because between 5.3 to 6.2 is roughly 6 million.
Can prove that, and that's what I am saying.
Well, Chris, have you ever reached out to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem, who has done incredible decades worth of research?
Oh, God.
I mean, I've been there several times. I remember a
saying, oh,
curator
God,
once
'cause I'm
saying
worried
when they
about
had the
how,
original
Chris
number,
Guy's
it was
gonna respond to
18
this.
million. And then they wanted to be bulletproof. So they went through the records over and over, and sometimes people were double, triple counted, and they whittled it down to 6 million. Now, if you had an agenda to make the Holocaust look worse, you would have gone with the 18 million.
Okay, but
so have you ever reached out to the experts in the field?
Oh, okay, so the experts first said there were 18 million.
I want to sit. So many interesting things just happened in the exchange that we just saw, which is one, David, for the first time in his whole fucking life, just appealed to experts. And I would say rightly appealed to experts.
That's how you know things are bad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then Chris's response to expert opinion on the amount of people who died in the Holocaust are like, experts.
What do they know? I mean, just as a general statement, I am finding it very cathartic, this whole Chris Sky meltdown in Rebel News. It's like when you have, this is not a personal story, so don't take it that way. It's like when you have a cheating ex, right? And they get together with the person they cheated with, and then you're watching their relationship implode.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's bliss.
Yeah. No, I can feel that. There's also like a sense of finality to it. Like, we're clearly not out of COVID, but there's a sense of like denouement, like the fact of like, you know, I'm doubly vaccinated. A lot of people are vaccinated. And so like certain things are opening up in like in other ways. And so like the remnants of like the shitty people who made this pandemic fucking worse, probably. It's like nice seeing them like implode in front of you to a certain degree, you know? It's very, there is a sense of catharsis. So I want to say, I just saw like I look like I'm ravaged here, but I've got mosquito bites from fucking camping. Itchy as hell, too.
Million, and then the experts then said there were 6 million. So were they right when they said 18
But they
million?
wanted to be bulletproof.
Oh, so they wanted to. So now, because they said they're really, really sure, that means they're 100%. The first it was 18 million. That's triple the number. Now they're really sure that it was 6 million. Does that mean they're 100% sure?
No, but explain the
Excuse
reason.
me.
Some people were
me.
counted 3 or 4 times.
That's wonderful. So does that mean that they missed?
So scientists changed their opinion because they got better data and wanted to be sure and double check their work. But now you're going to trust them because they did all that extra work when before, when they were just estimating, like this is the same shit that they pull out with Dr. Fauci all the time too. So no wonder he's not being receptive to this information. They're the same people who are like, well, Dr. Fauci initially said we didn't have to wear masks, and what now he says we have to wear masks. And at first they were like, well, we're not sure about these vaccines, but then the vaccines came out and they checked the data and the data seemed fine, and then they were okay with the vaccine, and now we're just supposed to trust them. It's like, yes, scientists update their beliefs with incoming information. No fucking shit, Chris Guy. No fucking shit. And here's the thing is, David Menzies and these fucking people on Rebel News are the same shitty way of handling information when it comes to the pandemic and other fucking things they want to grift on. But of course, when it comes to the Holocaust, Dave all of a sudden wants to fucking trust experts. Like, of course, we're going to trust people who put in the research time and double check their work. Now David will trust them. But when it comes to Dr. Fauci and other people, no, fuck them. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing how these people deal with the world of facts. It's amazing. Canada has more per capita fully vaxxed than the USA. That is true. We just surpassed 50% fully vaccinated. What if they do more work and then the recommendations change again? Oh no! I mean, but that's the thing. That's why you have the 5.3 to 6.2 estimates, is because most people, when they differ within those bounds, you know? Which is like, at that point, what are we quibbling over? Whether it was like, you know, somebody comes out and goes, well, actually, it was 5.5. And then the other person comes out and goes, well, sorry, it was 5.9. Like, who the fuck cares at that point to a certain degree, you know?
Missed any more that could have been double counted, or some people that were counted that weren't really dead? Does that mean that the 6 million number that they came up with is 100%? Can you tell me? Can we contact them right now and they're going to say the 6 million number is 100%, or will they say it's an estimation? Will they say it's our best estimate?
Well, you know, Chris, it's sad.
I asked you a question. Will they say it's 100%, or will they say it's an estimation? When their previous estimation was 18 million.
They believe this is the most accurate figure.
Okay, they believe, so it's not.
I don't like his use of the word they. I don't like that at all.
Nope.
I don't like Chris.
Not a
I mean,
figure.
like in general. Like, this is. I mean, like, and this is what you get for trying to be a quote unquote news organization and then inviting these people on. Because if this was like, you know, fucking like talk show or something, they could be like, nah, get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck. Turn his mic off. We don't want to hear from this.
Yeah.
They can't, because he's a guest now. He's a guest on your quote unquote news channel. And so you can't be like a dick to him.
And you were friendly with them too. Like, they would walk the streets with him. Remember when Ezra and David walked the streets with him while he was harassing storefronts? And Ezra's.
I wonder what'll happen next time they're at a protest together.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it was only like the week before then that Mocha was favorably covering him at Chinatown. Chris is making me hate neck tattoos again. Did anyone really? I'm not a big fan of neck tattoos. I don't know if you're just joking or if you've always hated neck tattoos, or can't say that I love them.
I think keep neck tattoos in the bad pile of history. Let's put them off there.
Yeah.
I think it would be one thing if his arms were fully tattooed and he had run out of space and, you know, needed another tattoo. He has one little tattoo on his right arm and then his whole neck covered. You have so much more space, dude. Like,
there's an element too in which it just looks like he has a beard, you know? It's like, just grow a beard.
yeah.
Like, the design just looks like hair. Fauci isn't above criticism. It's not good optics for Fauci to say something like, if you criticize him, you're criticizing science kind of argument. Kind of arrogant, delusions of grandeur there. Did he not say exactly that, or are you going to suggest it's out of context? Uh, so what I'm saying is, so the issue with Fauci, in particular with masks, had to do more with when this thing was starting, they didn't know to what extent the virus was aerosolized. And so he basically was like, you probably don't need to wear masks. And that's what they have him saying. You probably don't need to wear masks. The other worry was that healthcare workers that were directly working with people needed the supply of masks. You have spray, debris, all that kind of fun stuff if you're in close contact. And that's where they knew the risk was higher. And so they didn't want people to like scramble buy masks, especially when they didn't think that they would be needed. Then they got information that the thing was aerosolized. And as soon as that science came in that the virus was aerosolized, they immediately told people to wear masks. And they said, yes, what we said before was not true, and we updated our information. I'm asking specifically about the statement that he made, though. I just talked about the statement that he made. And we've addressed that several times on our podcast, too. I've looked into this. What Fauci said about the masks was, you could argue about whether it was accurate or not, but here's where the issue comes in. There's life, right? When life happens, you have to make a decision. So at the beginning of this thing, you don't know what the thing is. It's a novel coronavirus. It's new. So you make assessments and you make a choice with all the information you have at the time. And you're not always going to be right. And I agree with you that it's okay to criticize Fauci. I have some criticisms of Fauci. I feel like Fauci wavering on the whole, and I'm not going to get into this here, but the whole Wuhan lab theory shit that he got into recently, I have criticisms about that and how he handled that. So you can criticize him. The issue is, though, if you criticize him about the mask thing, though, you're completely wrong. Because he had to deal with the facts on the ground, and he made a decision because you need to make decisions. You know, it's not like a doctor who's a good example of this is a doctor who's like dealing with a patient who's like bleeding out in front of him isn't going to go, before we make a decision here, I'm going to be 100% certain before I move on. You go with the facts that you have on hand and you try to do your best to save the patient, right? So similarly with public health, you go with the facts you have on the ground, and sometimes you're going to be wrong, and that sucks. But if you're updating when the information comes in, that's good. You know, it would have been better if they said from the start that we all wear masks, but they didn't have that information. But as soon as they found out, they told us to wear masks. Problem solved, right? That's how you deal with things in science. So I'm sorry if that still bothers you. If you still want to hate Fauci. I don't give a shit about Fauci. Fuck Fauci. The point is like...
let's slow your roll there, Canadian.
What?
Slow down.
What, you like Fauci? Go give Fauci a hug then. What do you...
Dude, I would. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Go give
I'm just
Fauci
saying,
a
like,
hug.
there's no need to, like, idolize the guy. Like, I don't have anything against him either.
I mean, like, and again, I think you've addressed this. The comment wasn't about like, oh, if you criticize me, like you're criticizing the authority. It's just like the people that are whining that, you know, we had to update our information about how to handle COVID are really just whining about the scientific method. It's like, yeah, we saw something, we sort of understood it, and then we were like, oh shit, we understand more now. We need to adjust this. Like, that, why is that? I still don't understand. It's a year on, and I still don't understand like why that's a point of contention still, right? Like,
yeah.
If you discover something new about a disease that kills people, yeah, we should probably adjust to make the best decision. Why are we playing this game?
We must stay.
Why are we
pretending? And just commit.
It's like when we first discovered, I don't know, fucking bubonic plague, and we were like, oh well, we can just still like rub the rats on our bodies. That'll be fine. And then someone was like, oh, actually, we figured out it's the rats carrying the disease. And what was like everyone like, no, that's fucking those fucking medical doctors, those fucking duck-looking doctor things. Fuck them. We're gonna still rub the rats on this. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, but
Get the pustules in there.
This is something that's prevalent prevalent in society generally. That even before the pandemic hit, when I was like pro science communication and stuff like this, that a lot of people don't grasp. And it's actually prevalent in the conversation that we're watching right now, where you hear Chris Sky making laments about 100% certainty. And it's like science never gives us 100% certainty, like ever. That's the reason why they talk in terms of like probability and likelihood, and like they never talk in certainty. You never hear scientists coming out and being like 100% we know this. They say it's likely that this is happening.
To be fair, like, some do that, and we would like them to stop doing that. That would be nice if they didn't do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, those people usually get like ridiculed by other scientists who are like, "Come on, you're getting way too ahead of yourself." I mean, like,
Do you want to address this thing about Ethan Klein?
who's he? Oh, that's the H3H3 person?
That's the H3H3 guy, yeah.
As long as you don't take the Ethan Klein route of saying, don't even think about it, bro. Just trust the experts. Just turn your critical thinking off, basically, is what he was suggesting. That was a dumb statement, you have to admit, by Klein. I don't think that was actually what Klein said. I mean, especially, I didn't watch all the Klein drama. I saw the debate with Sam Cedar because I like Sam Cedar. And so I've never been a huge fan of Ethan Klein long before the thing that happened. So I didn't really care. But when Ethan Klein was with Sam and they were chit-chatting after Steven Crowder fucked off, it's clear that Ethan Klein didn't just have a peripheral understanding of the situation. He did know some stuff. So how much did Ethan know? I don't know. But here's what you're faced with as a general population is like, I don't know. Sometimes you trust experts. I don't when I take my car into the shop, I'm not there fucking grilling the mechanic about every fucking thing they do to my van. Because how am I supposed to adjudicate that anyways? I don't fucking know.
You don't go in there. You don't argue about the technicalities of what's wrong with your car engine. You don't do that.
Well, I mean, it depends. I might inquire about some things. Like they're like, you gotta buy this clamp because it's $300, and I'm like, is there any other fix that's cheaper? Or, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Is there a clamp that's $50?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess we could sell you this one that's exactly the same but less marked. Yeah, like no, things like that make sense for the analogy.
And so it's just like there's an element in which like, yes, it kind of sucks. I wish I knew everything. Wouldn't that be fucking great? But sometimes it's better to go, yo, this dude up here who's made it his life goal of like fucking studying this stuff and made it to the top of the he's not like the NIH. Like what is he on top of?
He's NIH.
Oh, he is NIH. Okay, yeah. So he's made it to the fucking top of the NIH and all that shit. Cool. Well, I'm gonna give him some. It just so happens that I know a little bit about science and epidemiology that I can at least assess Fauci in ways that I couldn't assess other people. But at the same time, it's like if I were just an average person like Ethan, I would totally just, yeah, Fauci says it. Sure, he's the one who put in the work, you know.
And like that's the critical point, right? Like Ethan Klein, the host of a fucking internet podcast who like makes weird fucking jokes on the internet. Yeah, no, he probably shouldn't try to like engage his quote unquote critical thinking about something he about in comparison to like the director of NIAID. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if that like hurts people's ego, but like you probably as a random person don't know as much about this as the experts. And that's not to say like you shouldn't engage critical thinking and like how you're going to go about this, right? If people say, oh, you should be wearing a mask at gatherings. And you're like, oh, yeah, I should do that. But, oh, I'm only going to see 3 people. We're all going to be socially distanced. It's perfectly fine. Like, yeah, use your critical thinking and best judgment in that case. But to, like, do this thing that we've been doing in the last year where, like, oh, these experts actually don't know anything, and therefore I'm going to ignore all rules and regulations, that's fucking absurd. Like, there's no nice way to put that at this point. We're hopefully close to the end. And we've all been holding it in, but that's fucking absurd. This idea that like your minor critical thinking about something that you barely know anything about trumps the decades of work that people put into understanding infectious diseases and then trying to come up with contingency plans for situations just like this. That's ridiculous egotistical masturbation. I'm sorry. That's all it is.
And credit for Ethan in that exchange too, because he realized that at least Sam. I mean, there was the joke of Cold Feet Crowder and the reason for having them to debate each other, but it was also the acknowledgement of like Ethan was aware. It's like I'm a fucking internet troll. Why should I be debating science here? And therefore, here's Sam as like a stand-in, as someone who's actually spent time talking with experts and interviewing people and had at least more of an understanding than Ethan did, which is like the point, right? Why would we listen to David Menzies, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum here, have a conversation about the numbers dead in the Holocaust, as if like they're the experts here, you know? Enough derail. I mean, like it's not even really derail, because I think like there is a part here that is like it's not necessarily at the bottom of right wing, far right people generally. Because like anti-science stems the whole gamut. There's anti-science people on the left too, but it seems to be far more prevalent on the right, because they don't like their adherence to truth is almost not there. I mean, it's funny that like Chris Guy is here claiming about how his connection to truth and how he cares about truth, but like there's tons of research that has been done. I think Jonathan Haidt, which everyone loves to talk about, even though I can't stand his like less scientific work. But in his scientific work, Jonathan Haidt showed that conservatives care more about loyalty than they do about truth, which is interesting. I see. So as long as you admit your ignorance, you can use that as a defense. Okay, isn't that convenient? Nah, I'm just gonna ignore you. You clearly didn't listen to a single goddamn thing we had to say, so why continue to have that conversation?
Well, I was just going to make the counterpoint, Jody, that I saw a meme on Instagram that told me drinking my own urine will make me last 150 years longer. So, checkmate, Fauci and experts.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
no.
The next line to that is like, what's the thing that they always say? Do your own research. Do your own research. So
your research sucks. That's the thing, right? The research that you can do sucks.
The average person is not good at doing research. And take that from like, there's a doctor in this chat right now. There's someone who almost had a doctor. There's other people with like post-secondary education. We have people who are well researched and learn how to do research. And so it's like I go out into the world after learning how to do research and read books. I got books all over my fucking shelf. All I do is read and research. And then some fucking dipshit comes at me with like a claim and then goes, "Oh, what? You're just going to appear to the experts that you read in books? Do your own research." Well, what the fuck am I supposed to research if I don't trust the experts who are telling me shit that did the work? Like it's just a fucking Ouroboros of complete and utter hog shit, because people just don't like, people already believe something, and therefore they look for information to confirm their beliefs. And that is all we're dealing with here, is you don't want to be wrong here, so you fucking hold on to it, and then you find ways to criticize the experts, even though the experts are fucking right here, and just listen to them. And if you're not vaccinated, hoser for life, get your fucking vaccine. Tired of this shit. We went through a year. Fucking 4 million people worldwide are dead. Fucking get your shit together.
Applause.
Now back to Chris Guy.
Chris,
It's something that they are literally making up, like I said, and they're saying this is our best guess.
But Chris,
a guess is still a guess. A guess is still something you made up. So when you quote me and say you're denying the experts themselves are telling you this is a number that we're making up based on the information we have available. Based on the information we had available, we thought it was 18 million. Now we're guessing it's 6 million. So that's all I'm saying.
Guessing, it's doing decades and decades worth of research.
That's wonderful.
You've gone to some
You can say whatever you want.
Menzies
Regardless, you admitted that it's their best guess.
Well, I didn't say guess.
Their best belief, sorry. A belief is still a guess.
Well, I think based on decades worth of scholarly
And
research.
now I'm 100% sure that you guys have changed your stripes, because this started about an interview about anti-lockdown, and it turned into let's assassinate the character of Chris Guy and try to make the Jewish community not like him. When I have very high support from the Jewish community, because some of my best friends are Jewish.
No.
He did it.
Really going for it, isn't he?
He fucking did it.
Really.
Wow.
He pulled the, even though he threatened Doug Ford, he pulled the Doug Ford. My wife's Jewish.
David said, "Hey, somebody else has got this shovel." And Chris was like, "Oh yeah, let me grab that and like start digging my own grave." Like, was it like David didn't do any of this? Chris did all of this to himself.
That's
Love that.
amazing. But the Holocaust
love
be
it.
less tragic if it was 3 million versus 6 million. Doesn't change that Hitler was still systematically doing genocide in death camps. Yeah, I like. There's an element in which like, why have this pointless squabble? Like that's the other thing. Like if he's still claiming that like the thing was bad, and that like it did lead to all these deaths, why do you care about this quibble? Such that you would do endless amounts of Facebook posting on it? Like this was not the only Facebook post he's made about it. We've covered some of them on stream before. Like he constantly talks about this shit. And in ways that are clearly like not great, you know? I don't know what else to say. Like let me see if I can pull up the other fucking thing that Tony sent me. Yeah, okay, here's one of the things that Tony sent the one time. This is Chris Guy saying, best video. Guy interviews all the different types of Jewish people. What do they all have in common? The Goyim will be our slave, was the response from all of them. Nuff said. And then this YouTube video is titled, All People Will Be Slaves of the Jews. So he's clearly, what is it called? Hiding his power level? Like, I don't think he's sitting here thinking that... I mean, his claim that I have Jewish friends. Well, if you have Jewish friends, you just claim that every single Jew wants to enslave non-Jews. Fancy that like David Menzies didn't bring up those messages, eh?
No, I know exactly what's going on now, David, and now I know why I didn't get contacted by Rebel News for a couple months, and now I also know why you guys got demonetized off of YouTube and you lost all your income, yet somehow you started hiring all these new people and somehow your station keeps growing. And now when I go on your feeds on Twitter and stuff, it reads more like a mainstream media platform instead of the Rebel News of old.
Well,
you guys are starting to disappoint me, David.
The Rebel News of old? Let's be real, Chris Guy. I have been watching them for over a year and nothing has fucking changed. Nothing has changed. And that long predates the pandemic, all right? Nothing has changed. They've always had funding. The funding comes, we know one of them is named Robert Shillman, which is fun. But Koch brothers have funded it at various extents through their different foundations. I think even Fraser Institute had money going into them at some point. So, yeah, they've always had that.
I think he's trying to imply that they're getting Jewish funding, though, and that's why they're becoming more mainstream media and, like, are suddenly able to hire all of these new people, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's trying to tie it into the bullshit that he's saying.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it back around, because he's definitely implying that 100%, right? But there's an extent to which they, like, it's amazing to me that, like, him saying this, if it were true, what he's saying, because there is an interesting thing that they're hiring a bunch of new people. That part is true, okay? And it is weird, where did you get the funding? I do agree with that. I don't think the funding is coming from the sources that he's going to conspire about, but the fact is that they are getting some funding, and it is weird, considering all the demonetizations, PayPal kicking them off, all that fun stuff, okay? But then, it's weird to me that, like, if what he's saying is true and that they're not the thing of old, it's like, no, like, you clearly... Just like Rob Carbone and these fucking banknotes. It's like, it's almost like he doesn't do any research on people before, like, becoming their best friends and then having, like, hissy fits with them. That's one vibe I get from it. But the other thing is that other people eventually don't go along with his anti-Semitic beliefs, and then he throws a temper tantrum and leaves. So there's that as well.
No, Chris, listen,
I hope you don't edit this out to make it look, to try to make me
Chris,
look bad.
this actually, this attack on me and my organization.
It's not an attack, it's just an observation.
If I may speak, we have always given you a platform. When we see allegations made, I'm giving you, in all fairness, time to respond to those allegations.
And I did, and you keep trying to push the narrative that I'm a denier and trying to push everything. You even tried to push the narrative that it didn't matter that they lied about Ottawa. You tried to pretend like I didn't show you an email. You said, oh, it could have been anything. You're literally feeding every narrative that they're using to attack me right now, and you're playing into it. So, David, I think I'm going to cut this interview at this, and I don't think I'm going to be talking to Rebel News anymore.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
Have a nice day, Dave.
okay, well, you know, what can I say, folks? We were trying to give Chris an opportunity to refute some of these allegations, some of these social media
Self-censorship.
postings that have been made by him, and I guess he didn't want to pursue that. I had many more questions and many more directions to go on this. I'm sorry that Chris has taken such a stance as this, but maybe with the passage of time, he will come back. We'll see.
Yeah, you guys just got bought out, and now you guys have to do certain things, like trying to make you look sad.
So you see it as well, like this wall with like the names. This is like their donor list, I guess. They decided to their new office. They decided to cover the walls with all the people who donated to them. Apparently,
Yeah, save on wallpaper.
I mean, it's another way for them to appeal to this.
It was
sort of,
interesting.
Like, grassroots thing.
It was interesting when like Chris got up and you could see like him walk in front of the desk, but the banner was still there as he walked by because it was that.
Attack me right now, and you're playing into it. So, David, I think I'm going to cut this interview at this, and I don't think I'm going to be talking to Rebel News anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this is where we get to see if the
Yeah.
thing is like.
Well,
Have a nice day, Dave.
Okay.
No,
well,
like you could see.
yeah.
Yeah. The desk isn't even there.
No, we knew that.
Top
Like,
of the desk is
the
big
top
too.
desk.
News anymore.
This is
Really?
what we did speculate it was
seriously?
green
Yeah.
screen, and you can
Well,
see it
have a
now
nice
right
day,
here. officially.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Whole damn thing. Whole damn desk.
Well, there is a desk there, but it's probably like a shitty like office desk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
How
so
shitty
good.
must it be that they can't even include the top in the camera shots?
It's a way of like, it gives them this like sort of like semi appearance of being like a national news show that has a fancy fucking desk. So, but they just Photoshop it in. It's embarrassing. But what you gotta do?
You know,
I'm gonna skip by the piece that we just watched. Now we get a hallway interaction.
Yeah, you guys just got bought out, and now you guys have to do certain things, like trying to make you look sad. It's okay, though. Have a nice day.
Who was he talking to there? That's interesting to me. Maybe he was talking to another one of the colleagues, being like, you just got bought out. It's just the way it is,
Do certain things, like trying to make you look sad. It's okay, though.
Looked like he was talking
Have a
to
nice
that.
day.
Yeah, he's talking to that lady there.
No, that's his partner. It was someone in this office here.
It might have been Ezra himself.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. That's interesting. Yeah. They show the green screen here. It's just a shitty desk. Actually, sorry. Let's click out. I want to see the shitty desk here. Help Funder News Studio. Yeah, it is. It is just a shitty desk. Look at that. That's exactly the kind of desk I was
Wow.
imagining it to be as well. Yeah, because this is the thing. I was
Even
telling
joins-
you, Lincoln J and Mocha have talked in front of this desk before, so that's why I was like, this is probably get rid of this. It's just a fucking desk, yeah, and a little room that they then pull down the green screen. Like I knew that was my guess all along. Yeah, look at this. It's just a room with
Oh,
a
man.
desk and a green screen. Yep. Fun. Rebel News.
You guys probably won't be seeing me anymore because it's not worth it.
I thought it was important to address this because we receive feedback from viewers saying, how do you give a Holocaust denier a platform? And I just wanted to find out what his side of the story was. But I guess I'm off Chris Guy's Christmas card list. It's too bad because I had a lot more questions to ask him. And the thing is, we're not on anyone's team as a journalistic organization. We're kind of like the umpire folks behind home plate. We're calling balls and strikes. And
Can you pause it for a second for all my baseball fans? They're the Angel Hernandez of umpires, and no one but baseball fans are going to understand that.
My guess is he's some sort of corrupt empire. Not
He is the
officially.
shittiest umpire. Just the shittiest, garbageest umpire.
I mean, like, there's so much to this. Like, I mean, what were we saying? He was seen at the fucking rallies shaking hands with Maxime Bernier and Randy Hillier. So it's like, you can't have this, like, faux distance from the thing that you help cultivate and still, like, help perpetuate. Like, they love to have this, like, faux sense of objectivity or, like, journalistic integrity. And it's like, no, like, there's an element in which Chris Sky is correct. It's just he's gonna layer it with anti-Semitic bullshit, where it's like there's interests involved that they rather. I think the relationship is like more cyclical in a way, which is like they want the patronage of these rich people, and so do the journalism that is going to get that patronage kind of thing. Not, I don't even think it's necessary that the people go, this is the kind of reporting we want you to do. It's more of like they're already doing that reporting, and it's the kind of reporting that gets that patronage.
Listen, just like a ref calling offside, when you see something that is offside, you got to raise it, especially since it has
Why are
been
they
raised
walking
in
to
the top
the
of the
hall
media.
shots here?
And he could have had I was giving an opportunity to refute
Showing
that,
off their
or maybe
videography
to
skills.
have a different
Well,
opinion.
no, because like we
on
need to
this.
get these like
But
real
Chris
life
chose to
in the moment.
leave, so there you have it. Unfortunate.
Especially in concentration
Behind the scenes
camps,
footage.
that
Yeah.
this many people.
The Nazis were pretty methodical. They did
Okay, I missed what Ezra said there, but now we get Ezra's reviewing the footage. This is fucking weird.
It was different
Chris
footage.
chose to
Sorry, what was that?
It was different footage.
No, it was the
To
footage. It
leave,
was the interview
so.
with Sky.
there you have it. Unfortunate.
Was it?
Especially in concentration camps,
Yep,
that
it's the
this
same
many
footage.
people.
The Nazis were pretty methodical. They did
I was trying to say that Nazis were great record keepers.
I felt that because we are generally sympathetic
Oh,
to
okay.
him,
Zoomed in, it looks so
we
different.
would be a good forum for him to say, oh, that thing I wrote years ago, well, I was just a hothead or I
Yes.
was stupid. But I just watched the tape of you having an argy-bargy with him, and he
An argy-bargy. An argy-bargy. These fucking people.
Well, I wouldn't call it an argy-bargy so much as an interviewee-winterviewee.
I don't think Ezra is pissed off that David didn't push back enough. I wonder if he's pissed off that this happened, like, at all. Like, I don't know. Because there's going to be some element that they're worried they're going to lose the Chris Sky fan base.
When you say pissed off, would you say that he's pissy-wissy?
Listen, after you have an argy-bargy, you're going to be a little pissy-wissy, all right?
Yeah.
he sort of doubled down, and then he stormed out. What do you make of that whole thing?
Yeah, like you, Ezra, I like Chris. He's larger than life. He's almost like a
He's
cartoon
like
figure. I say that
Jay-Z.
in a good way. He's great on camera. And what the situation we're in is we've had emails. I've had emails personally sent to me saying, how can you give a Holocaust denier a platform? How can you not even have the gonads to address these odious views? And you know what? They're right.
Do you think they actually got those emails?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think so? There's two
Yeah.
two reasons why I don't think they got those emails. The first would be I don't think enough of their audience searches out shit like the tweet captions that we have that reference this stuff to know that it came from him or know that he held these beliefs. And two, there's a lot of anti-Semites that probably watch their show. So it's like weird to me that there would be some people who would.
I don't know. The fact that they have whole segments where like they go over the user submitted like emails and everything like that, right? Like there's no reason that they would bring this up of their own accord. Like why would they, This isn't something that they give a shit about. That's something that they platform all the time. However, if they were getting emails about it, and it could have been like some like lib on Twitter or whatever doing it. But if they were getting like any sort of pushback and they're like, oh goodness, like people are emailing about this, then they would respond. There's no way that they would respond if they like of their own accord to this. They have no reason to.
The only reason that I can think of is if they want to curry favor, like, because Chris Sky was trying to split the movement away from the politicians. And if they want to side with the politicians, then that would be a way of distancing themselves from Chris Sky.
But since when has the People's Party of Canada cared about Holocaust denial amongst their own? Like, that's also not something that,
Yeah, but it's not the Holocaust. Well,
the sort of mainstream of that.
there is the question about whether or not the PPC actually contacted Chris Sky in the way that he said in this video that they did. But there's a separate step of, like, even if that never happened, Chris Sky is making it vocal that he thinks that the PPC are trying to hijack the anti-mask movement for their own purposes. And so now there's a reason to distance themselves from Chris Sky, which has nothing to do with the anti-Semitism and has more to do with, like, cultivating an audience, since Chris Sky is going to try to get people to go away from the PPC.
I don't know. I think that's putting like too much credit to Rebel. Like, I think that is probably some lib sent them an angry email or a few angry tweets
But when would
being
they
like,
care
"Oh,
about
you idiot, like, don't you know?"
But why would they care
Why
about
would they care about it? Because they care about their audience numbers, and that's basically it.
But
like-
that's what I'm getting at. Like, they've never lost for all the catering to anti-Semites before. They've never lost. Like, my guess is they're going to lose more audience from this. Like, let's look at this. This video has 66,000 views, and look at that like to dislike ratio: 2.8 likes, 4.2 dislikes.
Wow.
Let's see some of these comments.
Go through the comments a little.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't call that a storm out.
It's gonna be
He calmly
bad.
stated his case, announced that he would be leaving, and then left. Rebel News plays dirty. Duly noted. Body language, people. Chris is giving everyone a wake-up call. Chris is 100% logical and on point. Shame on Rebel News for this horrible interview. The problem is, you're claiming he's a Holocaust denier by not saying he isn't. I didn't hear him deny the Holocaust at all. He just questions the numbers. He's not the only one who's starting to think Menzies is a bottom dweller. Just because Chris is, right? Like, they're all fucking Chris Sky supporters.
Mm-hmm. See, but that's why I don't think that they would be doing this like in favor of the politicians against Chris Sky, because that's way more controversial
But that's
than
what
to like.
the revenue is. Because you got to think that, like, the financial backers aren't going to go with someone like Chris Sky. They're going to go with people who put a veneer of, like, distance from the kind of shit that Chris Sky is. You know. I don't know. That's just my estimate of it. Like, I like. Otherwise, like, why bring this up? Like, I don't understand why they would bring this up. Otherwise.
Yeah, no, like Tukars said, like, I think that they just miscalculated. Like,
Possibly,
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I was just gonna say I think it's just they're in a weird, tough spot where it's like their funding and the people that provide them with the bulk of the money behind their program would be opposed to associating like a guy with Chris Sky, but the audience and the viewers, like he drives clicks, he drives content. So I mean, like, that's why you're gonna get the comments being what they are, and at the same time you're gonna have them take the stance that they do.
And it's interesting how much he draws clicks. Like, my Chris Sky YouTube clips, like when we've done, have gotten the most views out of, like, every.
I saw that, yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, that's terrifying to a certain extent. But I don't know how much of the traffic increase, or, like, for one, the traffic increase, but then also the like to dislike ratio has to do with the fact that Chris Sky is mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's scary how much of a fan base he does have online. That is kind of scary. So yeah, I don't know. I getting into calculation, miscalculation, not. I don't know how much it's going to hurt them or not in terms of people leaving or staying. But damn, Jody is letting traffic shape content. Only when it comes to James Lindsay. This is actually the only other Chris Sky story I've, like, talked about. So if anything, I haven't. I mean, part of that is because there's nothing. We've said enough about the anti-mask stuff that it's kind of, like, lost its edge. We're only watching it now because of this fucking thing. James Lindsay stuff is a bit more relevant and worth covering, as I put, because, like, again, his fans like to watch my content. So, and if they want to get me to the point of monetization on YouTube, then have at it. I don't care.
First of all, I wanted to find out if he was the author of these posts. He doesn't deny it. Secondly, like you, I was hoping to hear, you know what? I was on a rant. It was late at night and I was inebriated. What have you? But no, he was doubling down on it. And I mean, when you look at, the words in his own words, Ezra, 6 million being the biggest lie in the history of fake Jewish history. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Who's writing the fake Jewish
and
history?
I didn't understand what he was saying about the Jews and their book and 6 million. I don't know what book that is. I mean, I don't read all the Jewish books, but I don't know what that is. You know what I think? Let me tell you what I think happened when you. One of the things I like the best about Chris Sky, and one of the reasons he's been so successful, is he's so stubborn. He does not be pushed back, and that stubbornness, which is probably his, other than his, it's a form of audacity. So just like he won't wear a mask no matter what, just like he won't go to a quarantine hotel no matter what, just like he won't, social distance no matter what, because he has such a sense of personal resolve. When you ask him these questions, and I saw you ask them, you put them in the gentlest way you could, put such spicy comments by him. I think that pricked that part of his brain that says, push back, don't give an inch.
Yeah, no, I agree.
See, like, there's a weird moment there too. He's offering a defense for him, even though he denied the Holocaust on his fucking brother.
Yep.
Which is super fucking weird. Yeah, Ezra does not look happy at all. He's starting to realize maybe his audience is more white supremacist than he thought. Well, nah. Listen, he's always known his audience as white supremacists. Let's be real. I mean, he pretty much he platformed the dude who created a terrorist organization called the Proud Boys. There's also the fact that he platformed white genocide Faith Goldie on his show, Lauren Southern, like all these fucking people. And not only that, like I wrote like his book Shakedown, which precedes Rebel News. He has a whole chapter talking about how people are being hurt by these hate speech laws. And every single person that he covers in that chapter are all Nazis, but he never calls them Nazis. So it's like, who is he defending?
Agree, and I mean there were other comments. We never got to them, of course, because he left. But comments that could be looked upon as being anti-black, anti-Muslim, anti-gay,
okay.
and maybe his opinion has changed, in 4 or 5, 6 years, however old these posts are, Ezra. But what's important, I think, our role here. We're not cheerleaders. For anybody. We're kind of like the umpire behind home plate. We're calling balls and strikes. If it's a hockey analogy with the linesman saying onside, offside. And sometimes, I really didn't want to raise this because I like Chris Guy so much. But it's a piece of ugliness, I think. Look, I'm not Jewish myself, but I think what he said would be deeply offensive to the Jewish community, and it wasn't the only thing. And by the way, as an important thing, this was not a gotcha moment. Several weeks ago, I had a phone conversation. It must have been over 20 minutes on this very subject.
So he knew you were talking about it.
Absolutely, and we also talked about the alleged death threats he's made to Doug Ford and other premiers. This is on the basis of Rob Carbone. Nothing has been proven in a court of law. Chris, of course, denies it. But there were so many things to unpack over the last couple of months. And when he said...
This was your first sit down with him in a while.
I mean, I would have interviewed him in Ottawa, but after his speech, he literally ran for the hills because he thought he was about to be arrested by the Ottawa police.
I think one of the reasons why people trust Rebel News so very deeply, and to answer Chris Guy's comment about the money, our funding is 80% crowdfunding. You know that. That's the only...
What's the other 20%?
The way we survive is our trust.
That's right.
The reason people trust us is because, I mean, Doug Ford sat in this very chair here.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Ford spoke at our Rebel Live conference a few years ago. People trust us because when Doug Ford goes off course, we criticize him. Jason Kenney and I were very close friends back in the day, but I have to be honest with my viewers and say he's doing things that are very wrong, and I would criticize him if it was Rachel Notley. The reason people trust us, I believe, David, and you in particular, you're very authentic, is because we call it like we see. We follow the facts wherever they lead. We tell the other side of the story. And I like Chris Guy. I don't like what he said on those social media posts. I think it was stupid. I actually don't think he's a racist in his bones.
There it is. What if part of the 80% is crowdfunded by really large donors? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it could be. I mean, like, what is it like if you donate $1 million is crowdfunding?
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. I didn't see the Twitch comment, but it was, that 20%, maybe 20% of their donors as opposed to 20% of the actual amount that they receive, right?
Yeah. Again, they're running. Ezra is clearly running defense for this guy. It's so depressing.
I mean, I think they're more covering their own asses.
Yeah.
Because they know that their audience is going to get pissed at them now. Like,
they don't want to take a.
Well, yeah, it's still very bad. Like,
they don't want to make a definitive statement one way or the other. They don't want to. They probably don't like the infighting amongst these groups because it further divides what parties they do want to be involved with, even though they've been ousted from the major ones. So I just think, they don't want to really wade into that whole circumstance, but they, like you just had a fucking Holocaust denier on the show and now you're running defense for him. I don't know how that's going to get you any closer to where you want to be.
Well, like, this is getting at two cares, like talking about Ezra not looking happy, right? Like, and I feel like part of it is like Ezra is savvy enough to realize that this is some of his viewers because they aligned themselves with the anti-mask movement, in part because it started with Chris Guy. They were showing up to the early Chris Guy rallies back in April 2020. And so they aligned themselves with that movement. And now this fight is like they brought on a lot of that fucking fan base,
Yeah,
so
Ezra's sowing. Ezra's sowing. This is awesome. Ezra reaping. Well, this sucks. What the fuck?
Yep.
Maybe he is deep in his heart. I don't know. We gave him a chance to deal with these in a non-gotcha way. Yep. You are the friendliest journalist in Canada towards him. There's no two ways.
To him?
Towards Chris Guy. Towards Chris Guy. Yeah.
Woo! That I could agree with. Oh my God.
It's about him.
Well, and Ezra on the...
But let me just close by saying,
yes,
our job is not to be his cheerleader. Our job is to tell the story, but we're not like in the, those motorcycles that have a little jump seat. We're not the little buddy in the jump seat. Chris Sky will likely remain a newsmaker, and I'm sure you will continue to cover it. He may not even like that, but so what? We cover people who don't like us all the time.
100%. And one thing, if Chris Guy is watching this, all I have to say is my door's open. You can email me, phone me. Maybe there's some kind of reconciliation here. But it's too bad he stormed away. I had so many other important questions to ask about the lockdowns in general. But all I was trying to do, as you said, was not to ambush Chris Guy, because we had talked about this on the phone, but to give him a platform to, clear the air. And unfortunately, didn't go so well.
I mean, like the fact that you would be open to reconciliation after this, after the fucking he went on your show and like continued to deny the Holocaust, like this isn't live, right? If they really wanted, Ezra could have just not aired the segment and made an agreement with Chris Sky. I mean, he could have done a lot of things. I think part of it is like you realize Chris Sky is going to say something, and so you have to upload the footage. I don't know.
Well, we just said that he drives content, right? So you put a video with Chris Sky in the title, you're going to get a lot of people clicking it, whether or not they like it or dislike it.
I mean,
eyeballs.
The question is whether or not you're going to get return traffic. Like if they're going to watch this one and then like leave and never come back. I don't know. I mean, it's also the fact that there's only one really like big far right channel like this, and so it's like they might be crawling back.
You win some, you lose some.
I have a terrible joke that I sometimes tell my wife, which is, I apologize once a year whether I need to or not.
What? He apologizes once a year whether he needs to or not. It's like, I don't know, women always need apologies, I guess is what he's saying. Or like...
Tell this joke before?
No, the one he told before was that whenever his wife tells him... It's not a joke, but he was telling a police officer that he never does what he gets told to do right away, especially when it comes from his wife. He purposefully waits 10 minutes and then does the task.
Yeah.
So he lays down the law and knows that she's not a jerk.
I'm sorry. I really couldn't keep, like, they both sounded equally misogynistic to me, so I just, like, couldn't remember which one it was.
Yes.
Both
like
equally anti jokes, really.
I will never forget that one because I was flabbergasted that that came out of someone's mouth. But yeah, this in a way is less bad, but still bad.
And the joke, of course, being, of course,
Oh God, David
we do
Menzies
things
fake laugh.
that are much more frequently than once a year. And it's not in Chris Guy's nature to ever admit defeat or that he did something wrong. That's why he's such a good fighter. But I think on these stupid internet Holocaust comments, they were so dumb. Yeah. And he's digging in on them as if it's an enormous point of principle to save them. I don't even think I don't know if he means it. I don't know what's in his heart. But I think it was a stupid thing for him to storm out of here on. I think you're right. He should have reconciled. I'm going to continue to watch his antics because he's such an interesting newsmaker.
I agree. Well, he said he's off to Sudbury, so we'll see how that goes. And yet it's another, I guess, cautionary tale, isn't it, Ezra? The old saying, the internet is forever. You might post things that have gone back years and years that you've even forgotten about, but your enemies out there will search those up, will use your words to discredit you if they get the chance. I know how you feel.
But then he didn't deny them. But he didn't deny them. Like, that only works if you go like, oh, they're going to use them to discredit these people who've changed and evolved and moved on, or it wasn't really them, or like, but this is someone who you did it right in front of him, and he fucking didn't deny it. And not only did he not deny it, it's like you could have shown him like the worst ones that I have, that like he's clearly said worse, and he clearly holds views that he's not espousing because he's hiding them because he knows those views. He can claim this whole I'm just quibbling about the 6 million thing with the Holocaust bad, even though he said things that are clearly very anti-Semitic beyond that. So
feel about Twitter.
Yeah. Well, let me close with one thought here, and again, I'm doing too much amateur psychoanalysis. Why was Chris so mad? It's not because this was an ambush. You've talked to him about it before. Yeah. It's not because you were unfair. You put the questions gently. Partly it's because he's a stubborn guy, which is what we like about him. But I think the reason why Chris Guy stormed out of here is because he deeply loves your reporting and Rebel News, because we have been his most frequent and fair journalists. And so I think he feels like he has a breach with us on this issue, and I think that causes him some pain because he has loved the fact that we've reported on him. So in a strange way, the opposite.
When you love something so much, you sometimes have to let it go.
David, Chris is mad with you because he loves you.
Oh my God. What is wrong with these people? Oh my God. He looks up to you like
I wanna know what love is. I want you to show me.
Why is this happening? Oh my God.
Sorry, I hope that my terrible singing is not going to get you flagged for for copyright.
That's okay. We have a video coming up which is you singing Sarah McLachlan, so we're all good.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Can't. Everything about this is just so silly.
The opposite of love isn't. The opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is complete coldness. I actually don't think he's a Jew hater. I just don't think he is.
That's good enough for me, and I never called him that
No,
either.
I know you didn't. I just don't think he is.
Okay.
But he just won't say, oh, no, that's a stupid thing.
Yeah.
What a shame. All right, I'll let go because you're great journalism here. I'll get out of the way.
Thank you, Desmond.
Okay.
I just don't think he's a Jew hater. I just don't think
You
he's
did
a
a
Jew
good
hater.
journalism.
Just everything about this is so fucking stupid.
Those last 2 minutes have just shattered me. That's so funny.
He reacted this way because deep down inside he loves us. It's like being scolded by, I'm surprised they didn't go down the route of like, it's like being scolded by your father, And when you grow up, you realize that was like a necessary in order to grow up and yeah. So like one day he'll turn around and be like, Dad, I'm sorry, I was mad at you. God.
Oh, fuck. That was wow.
Huh. All right, we did it. That was a wild adventure, but we made it through. And I think, I don't want to say that we're better people for it. I feel like I lost something deep down inside, but
I feel worse.
yeah.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.